Ladies and gentlemen, it's a great day because it's Flex Friday over on PrizePicks. My name's CJ Curry. If you're new to the channel and haven't subscribed, get subscribed now. We're doing daily player prop videos right here. Give it away. Lots of free research, data, information to help you hopefully profit more through this channel. If you haven't hit the like button yet, let's go ahead and hit the like button now. We're going to set today's goal at 199.5 likes. I'm taking the over, which means I need you guys to help me reach 200 or more likes in this video. Don't chalk me, all right? I'm taking the over. Y'all need to come through clutch for me. All right, we're going to do some research together in this video. You also may want to make sure that you ring that bell, turn on all notifications so that you're not left out in the dark anytime I upload a new video. Like I said, we're doing these Monday through Friday, dropping different sports, different player props. Right now, the main focus is NFL and NBA. A lot of NBA because you guys seem to like NBA a whole lot more. All right. We're looking at PrizePicks, and guys, if you're not playing on PrizePicks yet, make your first deposit, play the first $5, and whether you win or lose, PrizePicks is giving you $50 back. It's like a risk-free proposition, all right? Go down to the description of today's video. I've left a special link for you. Make that first deposit. Use code CJCurry, and you can take advantage of that free $50 offer today. Another thing that you probably want to sign up for PrizePicks for is this free square, because we all like free things, and Tyreek Hill right now has been discounted down to 0.5 receiving yards, meaning if he catches one pass on Turkey Day, all right, then he's going to basically be a free pick, a winning square. And so you definitely want to make sure you take advantage of this. I think you get up to a $25. Some people have an even higher limit, but at least a $25 limit on these free squares. Speaking of limits, speaking of today, we've got Flex Friday going. So if you're a Flex Friday member, a member on PrizePicks, go over to the promotions tab, click your Flex Friday option, make sure that you opt in. Now, my Flex Friday limit's only $5. All right, I only get a $5 Flex Friday limit. You guys in the comment section, let me know down in the comments, what is your Flex Friday limit? Is it more than 5? Is it set at 5? Is it 25, 35, 20? Like, you guys have told me a lot of different numbers in the past, and sometimes it changes from Friday to Friday. So I'd like to hear what you guys have as far as a Flex Friday limit. Let's go ahead and start building out today's NBA slip. We got a total of 8 NBA games. These are NBA Cup games. So we can kind of take that blowout narrative and crumble it up and throw it out the window, because these teams are highly incentivized to keep the foot on the gas, the pedal to the metal here, and so we're not so concerned about blowouts, thankfully. So it's a good day to take some overs or more options. So we're going to try to find a 6-pick more only option today in this video. But let's look through the pending injury news, because there's some big ones out there. Joel Embiid is listed as a game time decision. We're not sure if he's playing or not. Paul George is out. Paul George has just really had a hard time getting on track since joining the Philadelphia 76ers. Obviously for Boston, Porzingis is still out. Marvin Bagley, not so important, but still, he's out for the Washington Wizards. Looks like Steph Curry is planning on playing tonight against New Orleans. New Orleans is riddled with player injuries. No Zion Williamson, no DeJounte Murray, no Herbert Jones, no Jose Alvarado, no CJ McCollum. So it might be Brandon Ingram, Jordan Hawkins, Eves, Missy, and Trey Murphy. I mean, they just had to sign Elfrid Payton off the street. So things are really, really bad here for the New Orleans Pelicans. As far as other injury news goes, Kobe White's expected to play, even though he's listed as a game time decision. No Patrick White for the Chicago Bulls. He'll miss the next couple of games. Moving on to Portland, Scoot Henderson and Anthony Simons both listed as game time decisions. It doesn't look like Portland is expecting DeAndre Ayton to play tonight against the Houston Rockets, so don't be surprised if Ayton sits out. You got Ben Shepherd and Jabari Walker for the Indiana Pacers, both listed as game time decisions. You got Andrew Nembhard and Aaron Nesmith still out for Indiana, so those guys are probably not playing. Looks like Giannis is going to play. Chris Middleton getting closer to coming back for Milwaukee. And then Dallas at Denver, a couple of big stars who are iffy. Well, Luka Doncic has already been ruled out. He's got an issue with his wrist. And then Nikola Jokic is listed as a game time decision. Not sure if he's playing at this hour or not. And then Aaron Gordon has already been ruled out. So Los Angeles Clippers, they've got their own injuries. Norman Powell is out. Obviously, Kawhi Leonard continues to sit out. Malik Monk is still out for the Sacramento Kings as well. So lots of injury news. That type of stuff can potentially ruin your entry. So you got to stay on top of it. And it's worth knowing what's going on in the association. So let's fire up the Daily Grind Fantasy Optimizer. If you're not using this tool, it's a really important tool to have in your toolkit. And why do I say that? Well, because it's going to go out there, it's going to scan all the different sports books. It's basically going to look at the odds, the way that real bettors with real money in hand are betting these different NBA player props. It aggregates this information so you don't have to go out and check each individual sports book. And then what it does on top of that is it removes the VIG, the juice from those player props. And then it gives you basically what the fair odds are, what the real chances are of a prop hitting the over or under based on the odds or based on the way that the money is coming in on these different NBA player props. And so if you're not using the Daily Grind Fantasy Optimizer, I highly recommend you try it out. There's a link down in the description of today's video. You can save 25% off your first month when you use code CURRY. Okay, gang? Now let's get down to business here. Let's roll up our sleeves and look at some of these different player props. We're not only going to look at the Daily Grind Fantasy Optimizer and see which way the odds are going on all these different props, but then we're going to compare them to some of the sharpest NBA projection models across the industry. Projections from RotoWire, from Fantasy Labs, and from Shot Quality, one of the most advanced NBA player prop projection models that are out there. So let's start drilling through these real quick. I'm going to personally avoid any props that could potentially tie or push. And what I mean by that is Peyton Pritchard, for example, at more than 6 rebounds and assists. It's a flat number at 6, meaning they've shaved off the hook. The 0.5 is what they call the hook. And I don't want any potential plays that could tie or push in my entry, all right? I want clean wins, clean losses, especially since this is going to be a risk-free Flex Friday entry. So let's start things off here with Steph Curry going up against the New Orleans Pelicans. He's sitting at 10.5 rebounds and assists, but the under is the way that the juice seems to be flowing here on Steph Curry. And I would like to take some overs, being that blowouts aren't really going to be a concern tonight, but let's take a look at this one and see how it's projecting across some of the sharpest NBA player projection models. So we'll go over here to RotoWire real quick. For the rebounds and assists category for Steph Curry, the lean option is for the over on RotoWire, but they do have him projected for about 9.86 rebounds and assists. He's at 10.5 right now on various sports books. So the under does look like the better way to go. When you take a look at the hit rates, though, for Steph Curry for 2024, taking the under on this guy just doesn't seem like a wise decision. Seems like there's a lot of risk. And why do I say that? Well, because if you look at these hit rates here, you can see that he's gone for more than 10.5 rebounds and assists in his last 5 games in a row. In 6 out of 7, he's gone over 10.5 rebounds and assists. And overall for the season, he's averaging 11.7. And so for me, I'm a little bit skeptical that we should be taking the under here, especially knowing that, there is no blowout risk because of this being an NBA Cup game. So I'm going to leave that one alone just due to the hit rates and mostly due to the hit rates solely. Ivica Zubac is another guy, 13.5 for the under. You know what? Let's just do this. Let's go here. Let's go overs only. I only want to see over options. All right, there we go. So we were able to filter it out using the Daily Crime Fantasy Optimizer, another really cool feature that they have here. All right, let's start things off with Cam Thomas at 30.5 points, rebounds, and assists, a 53.27% chance that he's going to go over. All right. Let's do it this way. Cam Thomas, let's see. His projections are all pretty much trending under according to RotoWire, so we'll skip over Cam Thomas. What else do we have here? Jabari Smith Jr. at more than 17.5 points plus rebounds. Let's take a look at the projections there because this one's got about a 53% chance of going over. He's got a 18.5 points plus rebound line out on BetMGM and Caesars. And so PrizePicks is kind of on the low side here with the 17.5. Let's see if it's projecting well, though. So for that, we're going to go over to RotoWire. He is projecting for more than 17.5 over on RotoWire. 19.33 is his projection. So the projections are looking good here for Jabari Smith. As far as the hit rates go, it's pretty much a coin flip this season. 50% hit rate. So half of the games he's gone over, half of the games he's gone under. He's averaging right around 18.8 points plus rebounds. But over the last 5 games, he's done a much better job. 3 out of the last 5, he actually has cleared this. And he's got some massive performances in his game logs recently. 39, 31 points plus rebounds in some of these games. So he's been very boom or bust, feast or famine in a lot of these games. We don't have any previous games against Portland from this season. These are from last season. He was 1 for 2 against Portland in those matchups. So decent projection here for Jabari Smith Jr. with the 19.33, projected for almost 2 points plus rebounds higher than where he's currently sitting right now at just 17.5. So let's go run the projections over on Fantasy Labs real quick on Jabari Smith. He's projected for about 18 PR out on Fantasy Labs, so they like him to go over 17.5. And then we'll see what Shot Quality has to say as well on their projection models. They've got him at 17.8, so a little bit more of a conservative number for Jabari Smith Jr. But this could be a situation where we take advantage of this matchup here. Let's see, power forwards going up against the Portland Trail Blazers. Let's just see how many points and rebounds Portland's given up to the position. About 23.76 points and about 10.89 rebounds per game against Portland. So I don't mind this matchup. It's actually a pretty decent matchup for Jabari Smith Jr. So I'm going to go ahead and take him as the first play. Hopefully we can get through 6 picks without anything getting bumped or moved. So he'll be the first one, Jabari Smith Jr. versus the Portland Trail Blazers for more than 17.5 points plus rebounds. All right, let's find some more over options that are looking good. What about Ayo Dosunmu of the Chicago Bulls? He's sitting out here at 11.5 points. We're seeing some nice juice, momentum for the over out on the sports books. Even Pinnacle, the sharpest gold standard sports book out there, at 11.5 points. He's a minus 135 betting favorite to go over 11.5 points. So overall, this has about a 53.1% chance of actually hitting for us, which doesn't sound like much of an edge, but that little 3+% edge will add up over time. Remember, this is a marathon, not a race. And so those little edges will add up over the long haul. But let's run some projections here on Dosunmu real quick. Taking a look at where he's at over on RotoWire for his points. He is projecting well over the 11.5 points number. 14.45 points, in fact. So that puts him almost over by about 3 entire points, which is huge. Taking a look at his hit rates from this season, his last 3 games have not been so good. Overall for the season, he's gone over this number of 11.5 points at about a 38% hit rate with about a 10.9 point per game average. And so the numbers don't look sexy in terms of hit rates, but styles make fights. Matchups are everything. Against Atlanta, well, he's played them once this season and did have 19 points the last time he faced the Hawks. In previous games, he has absolutely done well against the Hawks, but that's pretty much ancient history at this point. Those games came from, last season, and a lot has changed since then. So we kind of take those previous hit rates with a smaller grain of salt. So let's take a look at some other projections here for Dosunmu. We'll go over to the points category and see where he's projecting on Fantasy Labs today. They've got him all the way up at 13.7 points going up against the Atlanta Hawks. So that's a nice projection of more than 2 points versus where his projection is on PrizePicks. Then we'll take a look at another projection, which is Shot Quality. Shot Quality has him up at 13.94 projected points. So the projections are looking really good for Dosunmu. So I'm going to go ahead and add him to the mix. I'm seeing enough of a gap or differential between these projection models and where he currently sits out on these PrizePicks and sportsbook sites. So let's keep things going here, looking for some more over options. What about Toumani Camara of the Portland Trail Blazers? He's going up against the Houston Rockets. The over on the 17.5 points, rebounds, and assists looking like the most positive expected value option for Camara right now. 18.5 points, rebounds, and assists is where his line is sitting on pretty much every major sports book and DFS betting app. So taking a look at this one, The 17.5 number just looks a little bit too low. So let's run some projections and look at some hit rates for Camara. Going up against the Houston Rockets here. This does look like a pretty good projection for him. 18.77 is the projected points, rebounds, and assists. We take a look at what he's done here over the course of 2024. You've also got to factor in that maybe Anthony Simons and or Scoot Henderson might be out for the Portland Trail Blazers, and that might help Camara even more, get more shot opportunities and more usage. But yeah, he's done a pretty decent job, I'll say overall. 53% of the games in which he's appeared, he's gone over 17.5 points, rebounds, and assists. So decent numbers here. Kind of inconsistent, I would say, overall. But, you can't always get that consistency all the time. But let's take a look at some other projections for him out on some of these other player projection tools. He's projected for about 17.5, which is exactly where his number is at on PrizePicks. So doesn't really give us much of an advantage or edge there based on that projection. Let's see where he's at on shot qualities projection models. Shot quality's got him at about 18.1. So this might be a sweaty prop or a sweaty play. But again, if Simons and or Scoot Henderson are out, then this guy's going to get more minutes and he's going to get more opportunities to go over 17.5 points, rebounds, and assists. Now he's a forward, so we can kind of take a look at the matchup here against the against the Houston Rockets against forwards. Houston, pretty good team actually defensively against opposing forwards, giving up 16.8 points per game, 6 rebounds per game, and about 2.5 assists per game. So it's not a great matchup if you're a small forward. Now, I don't know if they consider him small forward or a shooting guard, but we'll also take a look at the other wing spot, which is the shooting guard position. Houston a little bit more giving when it comes to opposing shooting guards, about 21 points per game, 6.5 rebounds per game, and almost 5 assists per game. So he's kind of slotted in to be the starting small forward. Him and Shaedon Sharpe are kind of your wings. Jeremy Grant's like your power forward. So I think for me, I'm going to just hold off on this one until we get some confirmation on if and when Scoot Henderson and Anthony Simons might be playing tonight. So we'll go ahead and leave him off for now, being that we don't know if those two players are playing. Because if those two guys are in, then I like Camara a whole lot less. So let's keep looking for some more options. How about Nikola Vucevic over 22.5 points plus assists? We've already got his teammate Dosunmu in there, and normally I don't like including two players from the same team. But in this case, these guys do play different positions, and so there's less overlap, less of them kind of cannibalizing each other's upside and stats. If Vucevic was a guard like Dosunmu, then I would be a little bit more concerned. But being that he's not, I think it's okay. I think both of these guys can survive and both potentially go over their props if the Chicago Bulls come out rolling tonight. 53% chance, though, that he's going to clear 22.5 points and assists. You got some sports books already posting Vucevic for 23.5 points and assists, meaning maybe PrizePicks is just a touch too low. They're a hair behind right here at 22.5. So let's run some projections and see if they like Vucevic to go over tonight or under tonight. Take a look at his first projection against the Atlanta Hawks, projected for just 22.31, so really close to that 22.5 number that he's sitting at. For the 2024 season, he's done a decent job, about a 56% hit rate of going over at 22.5 points plus assists. Now, historically speaking, he does have some pretty good games against Atlanta. He does tend to play pretty well against guys like Clint Capella. Him and Capella always kind of like kill each other for whatever reason. But he's gone over in the last 4 head-to-heads versus the Atlanta Hawks in 2 out of 4 games. So that's a 50% hit rate. So 22.31 is your projection for Vucevic on RotoWire. Let's see if he gets a more friendly projection on some of these other sharper NBA projection models like Fantasy Labs. Fantasy Labs has him at 23.2 projected points plus assists, so they have him going over by just a little bit. And then last but not least, shot quality. They've got him all the way up at 23.57 points plus assists, so they've got him going over by more than 1. So we'll go ahead and we'll include Vucevic in this one. Hopefully this is more of an up-tempo style game, a game where lots of points and such are scored. But Vucevic looking like a decent play right now, being that he's only at 22.5. I think this one will probably end up getting bumped to 23, possibly 23.5 before tip-off. Looking at some of these other ones, Trayce Jackson-Davis of the Golden State Warriors, another over option, 14.5 points, rebounds, and assists, about a 53% chance for him to clear this number. He would need 15 or more combination of points plus rebounds plus assists. Now, you are starting to see some odds or juice kind of starting to trickle in on the over here on Trayce Jackson-Davis. The one that's the most juiciest would be this one, which is Bet Online. He's a minus 149 betting favorite to go over 14.5. Even over on Pinnacle, minus 127 to go over 14.5 tonight against a New Orleans Pelicans squad that is pretty thin in the front court. It might be even thinner if Missy is out tonight. So let's run the projections here on Trayce Jackson-Davis. We'll go over here to RotoWire, and you can see for their lean more options when it comes to Trayce Jackson-Davis, they like him going over darn near everything today. There are no under options or lean less options on RotoWire. RotoWire's really liking some Trayce Jackson-Davis to go over. Here's his points, rebounds, and assists, where he's projected for a massive 17.65 projected PRA. So huge number there. Take a look at his 2024 season. He has been essentially a coin flip, all right? A 50% hitter when it comes to going over this prop. Half the games he goes over, the other half he goes under. He's averaging right around 16 points, rebounds, and assists. Now, over the last 5 games, he's kind of picked it up a little bit. He's got 19, 17, and a big 29 PRA performance against the Atlanta Hawks the last time he took the floor. Against New Orleans, well, he's absolutely owned the Pelicans in a small sample size. The last 5 head-to-heads against the Pels, he's gone over this PRA number in 4 out of 5. He did miss it here on October the 29th. That was back earlier this year. He had about 10 PRA, it looks like, but had 26 in a game the very next night. So we'll have to wait and see what Trayce Jackson-Davis does. But that first projection is just looking really, really scrumptious. So let's go take a look at where he's at on some of these other sites. 16.9 over on Fantasy Labs. So they're really liking Trayce Jackson-Davis to clear that number of 14.5 against the Pelicans. And then shot quality's got Trayce Jackson-Davis projected for about 17.4 PRA. So for me, I think he is a worthwhile add to a Flex Friday slip at just 14.5 points, rebounds, and assists. And hopefully he does what he's projected to do. Hopefully he continues his domination against the New Orleans Pelicans. If you guys are enjoying what I'm doing here, breaking down these props, showing you different player projections, showing you different stats and information from odds across different sports books, let me know by leaving a like or comment down in the comment section below. It really helps get me out there in the algorithm. It helps grow the channel, and I appreciate you guys in advance. Let's keep it going, though. We're looking for some more picks to finish out this slip. Let's refresh the Daily Grind Fantasy Optimizer as odds are changing in real time all the time. Here's one that just popped up pretty high here on the list. It's Jaylen Johnson, Double J of the Atlanta Hawks, 32.5 PRA. This one's got about a 53.2% chance of going over as of about 1 p.m. Eastern time. You're seeing some books have them as high as 33.5 and 34.5 on the PRA number. So the 32.5 looking like a really good value here. So let's run the numbers here on Jaylen Johnson. Jaylen Johnson's done a pretty good job this season. He's having a pretty good season in his, second year, third year? First projection, 30.93 PRA, so that number is too low. We wanted to see him go over 32.5 PRA. Let's take a look at his hit rates this season. Done a pretty darn good job, 60% hit rate. Over the last 10 games especially, he's done really well. 70% hit rate, averaging 36 points plus rebounds plus assists. Against the Chicago Bulls, well, historically speaking, he does not perform well against the Bulls. He has gone under in 4 straight head-to-head matchups against Chicago. And so for me, I'm a little iffy on this particular prop, being that he's projecting under and his head-to-heads aren't great against the Bulls. But the Bulls will be without Patrick Williams, one of their best defensive players who usually guards that power forward position. But let's run some other projections here on Jaylen Johnson and see if the overwhelming majority of the projections like him going over or under. This one's got him right at 32.5, so that doesn't really help us out in terms of a projection. comparison. And then we've got him at 33.57 over on shot quality. I'm going to leave that one alone. Just not a lot of great historical hit rates versus Chicago, and the projections just aren't all that sexy for him either. Keeping it moving here, we're looking for some more picks. We got Joel Embiid over 28 points. We're not quite sure if Embiid's playing tonight, but I would imagine that if he did, he would get a healthy amount of minutes, and his usage should be pretty darn healthy as well without Paul George in there. It'd be him and Maxey pretty much running the show here. He's at 28 points. It's a flat number, which means he could potentially land on exactly 28. In other words, there could be a tie or push here. But at 53% chance of clearing 28 points, I think it's worth investigating anyway. So let's look at some projections here for Embiid, because I know some of you guys are going to wonder, hey, should I trust the process tonight? And that's a good question to ask. Let's look at the projections. 27 is his projected points tonight. He was present at the morning shoot around, but did not participate. Interesting. All right. Too much speculation and uncertainty on whether Embiid's going to play or not. Guy was at shoot around but didn't participate. That's kind of weird to me. I'm just going to fade this one and leave Joel Embiid alone until he's 100% up and running. Continuing to our search here, there's Dosunmu. We already talked about him. What about this guy, Taurean Prince of the Milwaukee Bucks? He's in the starting lineup. He's been starting for Milwaukee. About a 53% chance for him to go over 5.5 rebounds plus assists. You're seeing some healthy odds on some of these sports books, -130, -133. So let's see what Taurean Prince's projected rebounds and assists are tonight. Let's go over to RotoWire first and foremost and see what the projections are looking like there. About 5.7, which puts them closer to 6 than 5 on the rebounds and assists number. Let's take a look at these hit rates, because they are actually pretty darn good. A 67% hitter when it comes to clearing this number of 5.5 rebounds plus assists. Going up against Indiana tonight. And against Indiana, he is, this was from last season. He was on a totally different team, totally different situation. But 0 for 3 versus Indiana in previous head-to-heads. But again, that was a way different circumstance than what he's been doing this season in the team that he's on. But yeah, the average of 7.2 rebounds plus assists is actually kind of attractive here. You look at the last 10 games where he's cleared at a 70% hit rate there, 7.2 rebounds plus assists average per game. So this might be a good opportunity here. Let's look at some other projections for my guy, Taurean Prince. We'll go over here to Fantasy Labs. 6.3 is the projected rebounds plus assists for Prince over there. So that's looking really good. And then we'll take a look at shot quality's projection for Taurean Prince. He's out there at 6.56. So that's one whole rebound plus assist higher than where he is currently at on PrizePicks at just 5.5. So I think there's some opportunity here for Prince to potentially go over. Very consistent lately at just 5.5 rebounds plus assists. So we got 5 picks already locked in here. Let's look for one more. I like going for the 25X. I'm a big game hunter. But if you don't like going for 6 picks, maybe that's too many. Maybe there's too much risk involved. Maybe your bankroll is a smaller bankroll. That's okay. You can pick your favorite 2 out of here and just run a 2-pick power play if that's what you prefer to do. All right, let's keep searching. We talked about Luka Doncic being out. Dereck Lively's name is popping up here for more than 17.5 points, rebounds, and assists for the Dallas Mavericks. About a 53% chance, 52.82% to be exact. Some of these sports books, though, are already bumping him up from 17.5 PRA to 18.5, where he's a -105 betting favorite to go over on a sports book like FanDuel. So let's look into some Dereck Lively II a little bit more here. We'll go over to RotoWire, obviously, and check the projections there first and foremost. Going up against Denver. Now, we don't know if Nikola Jokic is playing or not. I would say if Jokic is out, then that would be a nice bump and boost for a guy like Dereck Lively. Let's take a look at what he's done this season. The projection, first and foremost, 17.6, slightly more than 17.5, which is where his line's at on PrizePicks. Hit rates, not too shabby, 55% hit rate, averaging 17.7 points, rebounds, and assists per game. Now, as far as what he's done against Denver, these games were both from last season. He went under by a big country mile and one, and then he went over with 22 points, rebounds, and assists in previous matchups. But what I will tell you is this: Denver, even with Jokic in there, they are not a very good team when it comes to defending opposing bigs. And so this should be a plus matchup. They're giving up about 23.5 points per game, over 15 rebounds per game, and about 3.2 assists per game. So could be an opportunity here, like I said, especially if Nikola Jokic is out. But let's run some other projections on Dereck Lively. We'll go to the PRA first. Over here on Fantasy Labs, they've got him at 17.2, which puts him actually slightly under 17.5. So not what I was hoping to see, but maybe shot quality's got a better projection for him. Shot quality's got him at 17.27 to be exact. So I'm going to leave Dereck Lively alone for right now, being that we don't know if Jokic is playing. But if Jokic is out, then I would say run some Dereck Lively over 17.5 PRA. How about Spicy P? Pascal Siakam over 30.5 points, rebounds, and assists. A 52.8% chance that he goes over this number. Some sports books already have Siakam at 31.5 PRA. So the 30.5 might just be a little bit too low here, gang. Let's take a look and see what the projections are looking like for Pascal Siakam. Siakam taking on Giannis Antetokounmpo and the Milwaukee Bucks. So Siakam's projected points, rebounds, and assists on RotoWire is 31.43, which puts him over the 30.5 number by almost 1 PRA. As far as the hit rates this season, been very seesaw, very up and down. 47% hit rate, an average of 30.7 points, rebounds, and assists. Normally after a bad game or a down game, he usually bounces back. He's got a couple of instances where he's had like back-to-back down games or back-to-back games where he's underperformed and went under 30.5 PRA, but he's coming off of just a 25 PRA game against the Houston Rockets, so this could be a situation where he bounces back against the Milwaukee Bucks. Let's take a look at what he's done in previous games against the Bucks, and the numbers aren't necessarily very sexy. He's got some monsters in there: 39 PRA, 51 PRA, 54 PRA, but then he's got some real stinkers in there where he's just barely went under with 30, 29, and 30 points, rebounds, and assists. So this will be the first time that they actually face one another, Indiana and Milwaukee, this season. So let's look at some other projections for Pascal Siakam's PRA. We'll go over to Fantasy Labs where they've got him at 29.8. Yeah, I'm not feeling it. The projections are just way too low here for Siakam going up against a tough defensive guy like Giannis Antetokounmpo. So I'm going to go ahead and leave that one alone. You could stay right there, Mr. Siakam. Let's refresh the optimizer and pull in the latest odds. You got Kyrie Irving right now trending for more than 30 points plus rebounds. Again, this is another one of those flat props where the hook has been removed here. 53.3% chance, though. We shouldn't ignore it, especially with a guy like Kyrie Irving who can definitely get it going against a Dallas or a Denver Nuggets team that's not really great defensively, especially without guys like Aaron Gordon in there. So let's take a look at some Kyrie Irving projections and see if he's got a chance of going over without Luka Doncic tonight. Most of the projections for Kyrie Irving are leaning toward the under or leaning less in this case. The points plus rebounds projection, he's sitting at exactly 30 projected points plus rebounds. For 2024, he's hit 30 or more points plus rebounds in a total of 6 games out of 14. So not the greatest hit rates, but of course, a lot of those games were played with Luka Doncic by his side. So we definitely have to keep that in mind. Maybe he'll get a more favorable projection when we go take a look at Fantasy Labs. Kyrie Irving projected for almost 32 points plus rebounds going up against Denver tonight. So that's a very nice projection on a line of just 30. And then shot quality, we'll check out their projections for Kyrie as well. They got Kyrie all the way up at 33.2 projected points plus rebounds. So I'm going to make an exception here and throw Kyrie in there. If he so happens to tie or push and land on exactly 30 points plus rebounds, well, we'll just have to deal with going for a 5 pick instead of a 6 pick. But there are a number of different options there for you. 6 different options that are all projecting well, all plus EV or positive expected value plays. I do have a Flex Friday protected play check marked here. And again, my Flex Friday maximum amount is $5. So we'll go ahead and put the full $5 on there because why not? YOLO, right? YOLO. So we went ahead and submitted that. Guys, let me know down in the comments section. You liking these picks? Hating these picks? Which ones are standing out to you versus maybe some of the others? Or maybe there's some picks that I didn't talk about that you got your eye on. Let us know down in the comments section below. Maybe you can help out a fellow viewer. Catch you in the next video real soon. Good luck and peace.